Hi everyone, this is Mrs. TV Dlamini. I'm excited today that we'll be going through a very interesting lesson. There will be communication and management, communication and four. But today I want us to focus on interpersonal relationships and social interactions, which I think it is the core of the whole program. And I'm using this book, which you are also using your textbook, Communication and Management Communication. It's clear. Say it in plain English. And that is what we're going to be talking about right now. Firstly, it talks about self-image. If you go through this module, self-image is very important because what is it? It is ideally a mental picture or idea in one's abilities, appearance, and personality. This is a very important question because if you don't like yourself, you'll find it difficult to get others to like you. So this is more about knowing who you are. So you need to understand that you get to know yourself first so that you build your self-image. This may be positive or negative and may contribute to one's confidence. Now we have to move on to elements of self-image. What you think of yourself. Also how you interpret how others see you. And how you would like to be. These are three important elements of self-image. Then we're moving on to dimensions because that goes together. What are dimensions of self-image? Firstly, it's physical dimension. This is how a person evaluates his or her appearance. How do I look? People, they take a great deal of time about themselves, how they appear, when other people look at them, how they look. So it plays a very important role, how they look. And this is how they also have to make sure that people see them. And another one is an intellectual dimension, how a person evaluates his intelligence. How clever am I? This is very, very important because sometimes we judge our intellectual ability against that of other people. And then we look at how people react to what we say based on our intelligence. Then we can be saying, okay, I know I'm very clever because people, they are reacting positively to what I'm saying. So you now measure your intelligence based on how people respond to you. Then this other one, psychological dimension, how a person evaluates his or her personality. We've got different people. We have other people who are very quiet and they're also shy. We call those people introverts. And you also have people that have a bubbly personality and they're outgoing, they are sociable, and these we call them extroverts. So all these dimensions play a very important role towards self-image. Another one is sexual dimension. The sexual dimension, it plays a critical role because it's how a person feels, he or she fits into society's masculine or feminine norms or standards. We know people will be saying, as a girl, this is how you should behave, As a boy, this is how you should behave. So in most cases, people, they just have to make sure that they are popular, especially to members of the opposite sex. And that will make them feel better about themselves, knowing that they're able to attract the opposite sex. So it is up to us to see how we fit in because society plays a role to actually have those standards that if you are a boy or you are a girl, this is how you should behave. This is how you should look. That is also another factor that plays around the self-image. We move on to dexterity or skill. How a person evaluates his or her social and technical ability. So here it refers both to social behavior as well as technical ability. So we judge our social behavior and also our ability in terms of skills by comparing ourselves with those we live with. And we also look how people respond to us, how people view us. The more successful we are in adapting to our social behavior, and then we feel good about ourselves, and that builds our self-esteem. Then there is another one which I feel I need to add here: moral. How a person evaluates his or her values and principles. This plays a role because some people, they have very strong moral codes, and they adhere to those codes, and that builds their self-image because it's how they view themselves and also how other people view them. Now, a self-image is very important because if you have a self-image, obviously there is a good self-image, and when you have a good self-image, there will be these following characteristics. This is how we see someone with a good self-image. There will be self-confidence. A person will be, comfortable, will be, outgoing, will be like an extrovert, will be able to socialize with other people, have good interpersonal relationships, and a person is very eloquent, is assertive. Then those people, when they're assertive, they're able to enjoy good interpersonal and social relationships. And there's that self-acceptance as well. They have that peace within themselves. They assume responsibility for their own lives. They are self-directed. They are willing to take calculated risks. And they have a sense of humor and the ability to exercise emotional control because they have a good self-image. But on the other hand, if you have a bad self-image, it's going to be totally opposite of what we've discussed above. These people, they have poor self-image and they lack self-esteem. This means that these people, they are always negative about themselves. Well, there's nothing good that happens in my life. Well, anyway, even if I can try this, people won't like it. And anyway, I don't think there's anything good that I will ever do because I'm not that good enough. So this is how people feel about themselves, and that is a very poor self-image. So these people, they are in most cases introverts, and they do not socialize with other people. And when they don't socialize with other people, even in stressful situations, they are quick to lose control of their emotions. And in most cases, they often set unattainable goals for themselves, and that adds to their frustrations, and they will feel like they are failures. So all those are characteristics of a poor self-image. Now, how do we then improve our self-images? How do I try so that I can be like other people who have this, self-confidence, because you see people around who are very always jolly. They are, they're go-getters. When there's an opportunity, they go out there, they grab that opportunity with both their hands. And you see these people, having a great sense of humor. They don't take things personally. Then how can you try to actually improve your self-image? There are a few things, but we'll just highlight just few. You gain self-knowledge, know yourself. Then try and list things you love about yourself. You must also know your strengths and weaknesses. Try to set realistic goals and then plan how you'll be able to achieve these goals. Try to tackle them at a small scale so that you are not overwhelmed. Try to adopt a positive attitude. Say, I can do it. Try not to make any bad or negative remarks about yourself. Then make a habit of judging criticism if it is justified. These things are very important. At the same time, you try and see what is it I've done well. You list all the achievements that you are proud of. Then you also list the occasions where you overcame adversity. You'll be surprised when you look back and you say, my goodness, how did I overcome that? and you realize that you were strong and you were able to take a decision and say, no, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get out of this situation. I won't allow myself to be overwhelmed by this situation. If you can remember those things and you list all those things down, you'll realize that you are actually very strong. And then that will make you to see yourself in a positive light. And that will also build your self-esteem and your self-image. Then you look at the people that you've helped before and people who have helped you. Then you'll realize that these were interpersonal skills where you were able to engage with other people. These are the tips on how you can actually try to live with other people and also see how to improve your self-image. Now, we move on to what I love most, the Maslow hierarchy of needs. This is very important. I'll just list them. We have a pyramid. If you talk of a pyramid, as you can see indicated here, I love that man who is climbing this pyramid. You cannot automatically jump from the first step to the top of the pyramid. You must start at the bottom. So it's like a ladder where you take each step. Firstly, the first bottom step there is the physiological need. We have the safety, love or belonging. We have the esteem. And on top of the hierarchy, we have self-actualization. Now, let's try and look at all these hierarchy of needs. You know, Maslow advanced the theory of human needs, and he referred to it as a hierarchy of needs, where he pointed out that some needs, particularly those at the bottom, the physiological needs, they are the core, they are basic. They are more important than all the other needs. And for us to advance to the next step, we need to make sure that we attend to these needs. So they must be satisfied. They must be satisfied. Firstly, what are these physiological needs? They deal with the maintenance of human body. It is the lowest category, like I've mentioned. We are talking about water. We're talking about air, food, sleep, shelter, and warmth. We all need these things. Without these basic needs, you won't be able to function or to manage our lives. Then we move on to the next one, the safety and security needs. Safety and security needs are about keeping safe from harm, shelter, job security, securing the future, even in the workplace. These needs, they have to be met by working in a safe place, making sure that you get paid, you have medical and pension schemes. All those things are very important. The next one is esteem needs. Once a person has met his or her need for loving and belonging, then they can develop positive feelings of self-worth and self-esteem. Esteem needs to foster pride in one's work so that we are able to feel that now I am able to interact with other people. The last one, self-actualization. The need for self-actualization, which I feel it is when you have fulfilled all these other needs. So this fulfillment of all the other needs, then you are able to use your talents, your abilities to the maximum potential. Now you can say you have become a whole person and you are able to achieve everything that you are capable of. So I want to say what a man can be, he must be. This is how Maslow described this stage. Examples of self-actualization is when you realize your potential, like I said, self-fulfillment, you are able to pursue your talent, personal growth, and you are being creative because you know yourself. And that is the hierarchy of needs. So once all these needs are met, then we are able to say, like for instance, you are now having confidence, your self-image is clear, then you are able to engage with other people. You have the interpersonal relationships with other people as well, and you are able to socialize. No man is an island. Human beings do badly when they are isolated from other people. So they need to be part of a community in order to thrive, in order to be successful. We have these two groups. The primary reference group. These are people that you are directly connected with, like your family, your friends, and your colleagues. You talk of like your manager, because these people are very close to you. You are in direct contact with them. And then the other one, the secondary reference group. These are indirect contacts, your friends of friends. You've got your relatives by marriage, your in-laws, and other managers in general, and friends of friends. But all these groups, they influence your whole life. They influence how you think and also how you react, as well as how you communicate with other people. Once you have developed all these things and you know yourself, there will obviously be barriers. We can call them interferences into interpersonal communication and social interactions. These things, they hinder progress, they hinder communication. And what do we say a barrier is? So a barrier is anything that stops us from receiving and understanding the messages others use to convey their information, ideas, and thoughts. They can actually block and interfere with the message that you are trying to send. We talk of noise and influence. These are all barriers because you can't be able to communicate. What are these types of barriers? We have physical barriers, we call them external barriers. If we talk of physical barriers, they affect us outside or beyond. So these physical barriers, we may talk of a furniture that may distract how you are able to communicate with other people. We can talk of a poor reception on TV, noise, a lack of skill. Say you want to try and send an email, then you are not able to do so because you don't have a skill you are not computer literate. Then that would be defined as a physical barrier. Physiological state of poor health. If you are feeling unwell, say you are sitting in the chair you are sitting on is uncomfortable, you are living with a disability, or you are under the influence of drugs or alcohol, that will also hinder communication. So I'll make an example. Say someone comes in and is drunk and is trying to speak to you. You won't even be able to say you understand what the person was saying because the person was drunk. So that it stops the communication abruptly. The psychological one. These are personal traits, emotions, like we're talking of anger, we're talking of, some people can be rude, some people are shy into an extent where they can't even be able to look at you when they speak to you. And we've got people who are aggressive, and some would have got an attitude, others are very nervous. And let's say you are nervous and you have to go for an interview. You are sitting there in front of the panel, you start to speak and then you freeze. You have a mental block, you can't say a word. Then that will hinder communication. And then you have perceptual. These are differences between sender and receiver. And they involve a background, education, intelligence, occupation, interest, needs, personality, attitude, age, sex, culture, or religion. This perceptual, sometimes you hear people say, I cannot speak to such a young child speaking to me like this. Remember, we come from a society where an elderly person must have the last word. So sometimes you cannot even be open to listen to a young person speaking to you because in your mind you have that perception that I cannot listen to someone who's younger than myself. Then there's stereotyping, which is a prejudice. So you make assumptions about someone because of factors like race, beliefs, and status. And you'd say, just because, this very, a rich person. So I cannot socialize with people, who are not of the same class as myself. So even when they speak, it blocks communication because already you have that stereotyping. You cannot even listen to what that someone is saying. And some beliefs as well. You've got people who believe that their beliefs are superior than other people. Some they say, Christianity is better than other religions, and that it hinders the growth. You cannot receive information from someone, even if you send the information from that other person, then there is that kind of a barrier. Also, semantics, we talk of symbolics and symbols that distort the image, making the message difficult to understand. We talk of slang. Young people, they'll be saying, hey, dude. And then as an old person, you don't even understand what they're talking about. And it's how they speak. They say, oh, my dog. And you'll be thinking maybe they are talking about the dog, but it's how they refer to each other. And also the jargon, like you'll be saying, oh, but what is he trying to say? This person is coming and is talking about the matter is still sub judice. That is a term which is used in the law fraternity. But now if someone is using it in an ordinary communication, then it hinders communication, and then we are not able to understand what that person is saying. Even the accent, how people speak. Some people, when they're coming from London, they have that British accent. So it may be difficult for you to understand it because you are not used to it. And ambiguity, some words meaning one and the same thing. And then there are interaction of various barriers. One barrier can lead to another barrier. Say, for instance, you've been involved in a car accident and you lost your limb. Now, it's a physical barrier, which will lead to a psychological barrier because now you are shy and you have a poor self-image about yourself. Then you won't be able to actually communicate to other people. And there is also gatekeeping. Then that's the process where information is filtered. This is intentional because before something that has been said goes for publication, for broadcasting, then people, they have to make sure that they don't send it like it is. They try to filter it, just like when you filter a photo before you post it on Instagram. It's the same thing with information. I'll just make another example. Say you go to an office and you want to speak to a manager of an office. The secretary will be asking you questions, and then will be saying the boss is not, available. That is also gatekeeping because now we are not able to communicate with the person that you want to communicate to. So all these are very important, and they help us to understand that communication needs to be easy and it needs to be simple so that you are able to understand what is being said and you are able to receive the information that is coming to us. Thank you so much for being part of this lesson. I hope we are going to meet next time when we do our next lesson. Thank you.